Hey everyone, welcome to HobbyEXP. My name is Cheston,
And my name is Henry.
and we got something here that's a little bit special, not out of our usual here. We're doing a tier list. What tier list are we doing today,
Yay.
Henry?
We're going to do a meta deck tier list for Gundam Set 1 meta game. I feel like it's probably gotten to that point where some things are kind of crystallizing as to what's strong and where certain things are sitting in the meta, so it might be worthwhile to do a bit of a tier list.
Yeah, hopefully this will help you guys figure out what kind of decks are good. Obviously, these are our personal opinions, so take it with a
Hmm.
grain of salt. And obviously,
Yep.
your local meta is gonna influence what you play and what you do more so than this tier list. This is just
Yep.
our hot take, as you want to put it.
Yep.
And without further ado, let's get stuck in.
Let's do it.
Alrighty, we're here with the tier list. So, Henry, do you want to kick us off with the decks from left to right, and then we'll start having a hot take as to what they could be?
Yeah, so you want to go through each of what they are and then we'll put them on the tier list? Like where
Yeah,
we think they belong, yeah?
yeah. So maybe let's
Yeah.
kick off with the first one. So,
Hmm.
uh, blue white blockers. Blue white. No, sorry, not
Well,
blue white. Not blue white blockers.
Unicorn.
Unicorn specifically. Yeah.
Unicorn, yes. I think this is more of like a blue-eye blockers, but like with unicorn. A lot of, I believe, a lot of people have kind of moved to that as kind of like the default way to play blue-eye blockers, or at least it's been pretty popular, in the last little bit. To use unicorn package because obviously the unicorn is a nice big boss monster. You have Banaja to link with it, which gives you a card draw, but also
It's
gives
a
you the
2/2
ability
as
to.
well.
Yep, it gives you the ability to rest something on swing, so it gives you a bit more of that control aspect to the game. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, pretty strong. Um, and then
It
next
does.
to,
It does run some.
sorry, go ahead.
It does run some freedom. I'm pretty sure it runs
Yeah, it still runs.
airstrike.
Yeah.
It still runs a lot of the big, heavy dudes, and it's a
Mm.
little bit different from the freedom deck that we've got here. But we can talk about that a little bit later. But
Yep.
this is definitely focused on seeing your unicorn, getting that advantage on board, and then stabilizing with freedoms or just swinging face with unicorn because you just keep resting your guy, resting their units. And it makes their life a lot more difficult. So yeah,
Yep. Definitely. Definitely. And then next to unicorn, we have. I think what we're using to denote kind of red-white ZAFT deck. Is that right,
yeah,
Justin?
yeah. So this is a dual assault shroud. It's a fun little card. It's on. Is it on play when deployed basically look at the top three, grab ZAF card and put it onto the board. I believe it's four or less or something like that. I think it has potential. One of my locals, Aaron, plays a deck that's very similar to this, in which you support Le Corgi, and basically when it has five or more AP, it can do more things with it. Same with like Buster Gundam. So Buster Gundam, you can rest it, support three. It untaps itself if it supports a ZAF unit. So it just trades really efficiently, and I think that's a big part of this game. Like if I can have a 1/1 that gets buffed to a 4/4, 4/3 or 3/1, and I can swing into something that's much bigger than myself. It helps to trade out a lot better, and you get that incremental advantage sort of thing. It's not fully fleshed out, I don't think. I still think you're missing a top end because your top end at the moment you kind of need to pivot to Justice Gundam or just Ailstrike, while I feel like you need more an offensive piece. But yeah, that's my 2 cents. So yeah, a fun
Yep.
deck, a fun deck. Okay, so Wing Zero.
Wing Zero. Yep.
It's
Everyone's
your favorite.
favorite.
It's your favorite Gundam at this point in time for someone who doesn't know
Uh,
much about the series.
yeah.
Where do you
My
think?
favorite Gundam, maybe not my favorite deck, but in saying that, very powerful deck. I'm sure we'll get there when we speak to it. But yeah, everybody kind of at this point, I think, knows and loves, or knows and hates the green white build, which is what we're using to kind of denote with the Wing Zero there. Big boss monster of that deck.
Yeah. Then we have a more defensive. Would you say, Henry? Blue white blockers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. This is probably the traditional blue white blockers before people started splashing in like unicorn and stuff. I would still say that you'd probably run one or two, but this is definitely more focused around the that big white, blockers. The having the big blockers at the end of the game to really kind of lock down the board and winning through that effectively.
Yeah,
Um,
because there's not a lot of stuff that gives high maneuver at the moment. So if you can establish the board, trade out quite well,
mm,
armor obviously rest a lot of stuff, and you can just swing with
yeah,
your larger blockers into things. Yep, I think you
yeah,
can establish a board.
yeah,
Yeah. Red, blue, or Pepsi, I believe the internet is calling it now.
yeah. That's what they are. Yep.
Yeah.
Pepsi pingers, or like just red blue aggro, I guess some people kind of calling it. Um, yeah, really really strong deck. Very good anti aggro deck actually. Like it's
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
a deck that's very into aggro. Um, and it's become pretty popular, I would say. Like I think like did pretty well overseas in the US at some of the earlier events, and seen a lot of people playing it. And know from our group, Harry is a big fan of that deck, so we have a lot of good practice into that.
Yeah, I just think it's on swing to deal damage, especially with from Kshatriya and Marita herself, and just being able to control the board while expanding is very, very powerful
Mm.
in this game.
Oh yeah.
Second last, we have Red Green Zeon. Now, this was a deck that I originally was pretty hyped for. Um,
Hmm.
and it's evolved quite a lot since the first sort of
Hmm.
iterations of it.
Hmm.
Trying to
Hmm.
see a Sananju towards the top end, just as like a backup sort of thing. I wouldn't call this aggro. I think this is closer to like a mid rangey kind of thing.
Mm.
Like you have early pressure from the Zaku's, the ones that swing big. They become a 3 AP. And then Sananju is just sort of there to like seal the deal really with all the high maneuver and all sort of stuff. Um,
Yep. Yep.
yeah, I still think a decent deck. I still think, but not as aggro focused as I thought it would be.
It's almost missing something, but I'm not too sure what that is, to be honest with you.
Yeah, maybe I think more links with full frontal would help it. I think because right.
I just think full
Mm,
frontal is having full frontal. The pilot card being a level 6 pilot is so silly. Like I've been helping on about this all the way since started X, but like it's just so silly to have such a high leveled pilot. I think it's the highest level pilot in the game.
so expensive.
It's so expensive, and it just doesn't really fit into kind of, I guess, the more aggro archetype.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Despite the
anyway,
fact it came in the starter deck, and yeah, yeah.
mm, exactly.
And last but not least, this is I think become a bit of a pet deck for you and I, Henry.
Yeah.
Blue Green Zeon Aggro.
Hmm.
I think you and I saw this deck somewhere on Twitter. We've made some
Yeah.
slight modifications to it.
Yeah.
Um, it just
So I think it actually got really popular in Japan,
mm, okay.
and it won one of their earlier events, like a version of it. And I think from then on, people have been building it, and kind of refining it. And I think it's gotten to a point now where it's pretty powerful.
Mm, and
And yeah, you gotta you have to have an answer to it nowadays, I think.
yeah, I don't think we'll be able to analyze and go through each deck list or anything like that, but we can give you like a summary of how they work and what sort of
Yeah.
matchups we're looking for, and obviously put it onto a tier list, which is what you're all here to
Yep.
watch.
Hmm.
So, do you want to start from the left again, or we should go from the right? Change it up a little bit.
Well, how do you feel about going from the bottom to the top? Like, as in, like, where we see. I think
Okay.
you and I probably don't have. We almost have probably very similar ideas of where things are going to end
Yep.
up, but we might
Yep.
not have the exact same.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
how about, or alternatively, we can just pick which one we want to start with, and we'll just you pick one, I pick one, you pick one, I pick
Okay.
one.
Yeah.
What do
Yeah.
you
Yeah. All
feel?
right. I'll pick red green Xeon. Where do you think this fits on the scale?
All right. So I think one thing we did miss talking about before we completely put it on the scale is kind of where we see the tiers.
Hmm.
Like as in like S tier is obviously like the best deck, or how I see the tiers. Let me say that. And you don't have, yeah. I would say like that is, S tier is like the best deck, in the format,
Mm-hmm.
or one of the best decks in the format. A would be, you know, um, a meta deck, kind of a standard meta deck, has a chance to win, a tournament, but can be countered, possibly. Um,
Mm-hmm.
B, see, B for me is almost like these like rogue decks.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you might see it like pop up, in like a top 8 or something. But I don't think you're going to see many of them. Like it's not going to be a consistent topper.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, C would be kind of like, I
Lacking.
don't know, maybe for fun decks, or like I don't know if you're gonna get like a big tournament win, maybe like a locals warrior deck. And D, I'll be honest with you, small spoiler, I don't think we're gonna have many Ds, but D is just kind of trash. But I think we can probably remove D.
Yeah, it's fine.
'Cause I don't think any deck, given the kind of how Gundam works at the moment, I don't think you can kind of win a game, if you draw well and the opponent draws poo.
Hey man, just like any TCG, if you brick, you brick,
Yeah,
man. Like
yeah.
yeah. All right,
So I don't
so
think there's any decks that are that bad.
yeah, so we've established the tiers.
Hmm.
And let's dive in. So red, green, Zeon. Where do you
Yeah.
think that fits, in your opinion?
I think, in my opinion, it's a B.
Okay.
I think it's a bit better than a C. It's not just for fun. I do think there's power in that deck.
Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
And I definitely do see, like, I suspect, like, we'll probably see a few people do pretty well with it.
Yep. Yep.
But I don't think it's consistent enough to be like one of the top meta decks. Or a deck that's going to be consistently fighting for like the winner spot of a big tournament. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if I see one or two pop up here and there in like top 8s or top
It
16s.
definitely has like a really good toolbox. Like I mean,
Mm,
Zanzibar is a great base. You can just play another level 4 lower Xeon slash Neo
mm,
Xeon. Obviously, the Char Zaku Searcher. You got the Char Zaku that makes a token, and it has a lot of the similar sort of things that the blue green one has, but it just goes a little bit taller. So you'll see Charles Gelgoog in there, both the one that brings back the Char pilot from the bin, and also the one that's
yeah.
just a 4/3. That's just a cheap cost, big AP, decent HP. But yeah, I agree. It's mid range, but it doesn't have enough tools to deal with threats. I think it needs to see its cards in a very good sequence for it to really pop off. And so when it, like I guess like any deck, when it rolls, it rolls.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So do you agree with a B, or do you have it anywhere else?
Uh, look, I can't. I still think it's B. Like
Mhm.
I look at my locals as a bit of an example, and I can try to tell you what is the most played deck there. But yeah, yeah, Rogue is sensible. Rogue is sensible.
Yep.
Your turn. Pick a deck.
All right. Let's go with the green whites. Let's talk about green white. Okay, so green white.
All right, where you want it? Where
Um,
you want it? Where you want it? Tell me now.
I'd probably say A.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay. Some
the
might think that's a hot take, to be honest with you.
some might think that's a hot take. And I think by the time we get to the end of this, you see where I've put everything, people might even think it's a hotter take. But in regards to green white, it's a very strong deck.
Mm, mm, mm.
Obviously, it's a very strong deck. But I do think it can be countered, and I do think that like it can fall over to aggro pretty hard. And when we get to talking to, I guess, kind of what we would see as more like premier aggro decks, about like maybe green, blue, and even Pepsi or the red, blue aggro decks. Like I definitely see green white can kind of just like randomly lose a game if they don't find like early blockers or maybe ramp
Yeah,
to
yeah,
zero
yeah.
quickly, which can be kind of frustrating. Now, in saying that, I mean, you can always have an amazing day, where you draw everything perfectly and you absolutely smoke everyone. And this deck is the deck to do that. You know what I mean? Like, I think if it high rolls and does what it needs to do, like it's very hard to stop. So, by no means is it not powerful. It's incredibly powerful. But I do think it's like it's exploitable, I guess you would say.
Yeah,
So,
for sure, for
kind
sure.
of that it can be countered. Now, do I think it's kind of part of this like triangle format that we have
Oh
currently?
yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes, definitely. Like it is either however you ever look at it, it is either the scissors, the paper, or the rock. You know what I mean? Like it's
sure.
one of the three
Yeah,
in that kind of game. So that's why it has to be A for sure. But I do think that good players can exploit it, and if you kind of have a bad start, and I think the other component of this, is that with regards to how like tournaments played and stuff, and how important like the mulligan is for this deck,
mm,
specifically knowing what matchup you're against.
mm,
Like if
mm.
you don't know what your opponent's playing and they're playing like full aggro, and
Don't see a
you
blocker
can't
or
you don't see a
yeah,
blocker or you can't keep a hand with a blocker in it, or or you mulligan wrong, you can get really it can be a bad day for you. So I do think there's a bit of an element of skill involved in being able to manage
yeah,
that
for
mulligan
sure,
for
for
this
sure.
deck. It's not as straightforward as like an aggro deck where you're just like, okay, I'm a mulligan regression. This one, you have to be a bit more kind of considered,
Mm.
which can make it harder.
It does have like a lot of good cards that other decks don't have at the moment, like the command, the path to victory or defeat. Just
Yeah.
makes this deck so consistent. If it had a
Oh
burst
yeah.
or an action, that card would be bonkers. But it's so strong right now. The
Oh yeah.
fact that it can find a both a unit and a pilot, by comparison to the Char Zakutu, which can only find a unit,
hmm
makes it way more powerful. The amount of times that
hmm
I've looked at top three, seen a char that I could have used for a time maneuver to take that card, but I have to bottom deck it because that Char Zaku 2 doesn't give me pilots, is infuriating beyond
Yeah.
belief. So,
Yeah.
like you said, if Wing Gundam Zero, you see a curve, like a safe place to keep blockers early on, and you see a piece that you need, you see a death size when you need it, you see a Wing Zero when you need
Yeah.
it. Yeah, it's such a strong deck, but again, it's not unbeatable. No, by no means. It's
Yeah.
definitely a deck that if I was to say prepare for a tournament, it's something that I need to be scared of or be prepared for to deal with.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
knowing how many times it can ramp, knowing when to apply pressure and that sort of thing. So anyway,
Mhm.
all right,
So
let's
you happy with A?
yeah, I think
Yeah.
I don't think as a we because look it let's be frank here, we haven't rehearsed this, right? I don't know if there's a best deck in format because I think every deck in some shape or form can be counted, right?
Mm. Yeah.
But yeah, I think this is definitely a meta deck for sure, for sure,
Oh yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna pick Pepsi. I'm gonna pick Pepsi. So Harry isn't here for this recording, so I think it's a hot take. It's not funsies. I can say you that for sure. It is not funsies. No.
No.
Is it the best deck in format? I know. No, it's not. It is definitely one of these two. I just I can't decide where it fits.
Yeah.
Right? My gut instinct tells me here
Okay.
because a few things. The ping from Kshatriya or Marita, one of the two, is only equal to its level or lower. So it can't hit Unicorn and it can't hit Freedom and it can't hit Wing Zero, right? So it can't hit the biggest things in the game. So it has to win faster than others. That's one thing. Okay. Um, it has a saving grace of it usually runs the Banshee, so you can swing twice. So that is like the clutch
Yep.
move.
Yep.
But you're relying on having 12 things in the bin, which it doesn't always happen, right? It's likely, but it doesn't always happen. So there's a lot of, I feel it's too conditional to be a meta deck, in my opinion. Um, will it do better? Like if I was is like to tier this within the tier, it'd definitely be this
Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure,
agreed.
for sure.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of the stronger rogue decks. But I think the threshold to go from here to here, you need to be able to deal with any situation, or at least have something in your toolbox to deal with every situation. And I don't know if it's got that. That's my
Yeah.
perception.
No, I agree with you. I think I think even Harry would probably agree that it has a tough time into like a blue-white deck.
It's too tall. Too tall.
It's too tall, too big, and it can even struggle into green-white if its aggro plan doesn't kind of pop off as well as you'd like it to
Mm,
be.
mm.
Um, so yeah, no, I definitely think it's quite powerful. I mean, I'm happy to put it in B. I mean, there may be times where you can argue it's maybe an A, but I do think that if I do think that top of B is probably where it belongs.
I mean, if we
It's
redid
very
this,
good into aggro.
C would be rogue, and this is like 1.5 tier. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like fringe. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
So
I mean, I think you're not, you know, if you're taking one of these B decks to a tournament, I don't think you're trolling, for example. Like
no.
I think you're being legitimate and
Mm,
you're giving yourself a decent shot. Um, especially if you know the deck inside out.
mm.
Yeah, you definitely. I think depending on how the meta shakes out, I think you might run into a few tougher matchups on the Pepsi build, on the Pingers build, as opposed to good. But then again, if this aggro resurgence continues to come, then I think this deck is really well placed to do well.
Mm, mm, mm.
Um,
It will definitely be added into. It won't be no longer a triangle. It becomes like a weird square where they kind of like one thing deals with another, and it's a bit of a
yeah,
dice roll what you get. But all right. Your turn. What's the
my
next
turn.
deck?
Um, Out of the four decks that are left, yours and my favorite deck's still there, but let's leave that till the end because
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
we like it.
Yep.
I think that's you and I are gonna have lots to say. So
So
let's
much to
let's
say.
go with. I want to go with red white.
Okay.
Um, and I want to say this is a for funsies. I think this is a C. I think this is probably going to be the lowest rated deck.
Now,
It's mm,
before we continue, like and subscribe
hmm
as always. Like and subscribe.
like and subscribe, of
This is
course.
a hot take. This is our personal
Mm,
opinion as well. So, I will know we're gonna
I don't know.
offend a lot of seed people by saying it. It's seed tier. So many, but objectively speaking, I see this. Agree. I see this as a funsy. It has some really unique and cool tools. That base that if you got 5 AP gives it breach. Very cool. Atheron with Aegis, able to swing at something untapped, has breach as well. Very cool. You got Buster Gundam that can untap itself if it's supported as ZAFT unit, so you can either basically tap it to support 3 and then untap it to keep it safe. It can swing for 1, so it can take out a shield, so that's really cool. Dual Assault Shroud can dig from the top of the deck, which is again similar top of the deck, and put it to the field, which is like an extra. It's like a Zanzibar plus a Charzaku combined together. Again, a cool tool. I just think that your card pool is too small. You've got no big boss monster, because Justice Gundam, while it's a cool LR, it is also the weakest LR at this
Yeah,
point in time in my head.
yeah,
It
yeah,
it's great for taking out big boys. Don't get me wrong, it is great, but I'm not scared. Like I'm scared of the big units coming down later on, but I need to get there first, and uh, I want we it's a phrase that we kind of go back to with One Piece, right? It's either you answer the question or you ask the question, and it really depends how you want to do it. I think justice is answering questions, like dealing with a threat, rather than saying, "Hey, this is the big scary thing. Come and deal with it."
yeah. I just think it's a mess. The card pool doesn't really like a lot of the red white builds I've seen are really focusing on the white side to really bolster it because I think the red color is a bit of a mess outside of like Kshatriya
Mm.
and Merida, to be honest with you. Like the
Well,
top end of
close
red.
combat, battle of aces.
No. Those cards are fine. I'm talking about unit cards, like
Oh,
Gundam specifically. Like there's a bit of a mess, and I think unfortunately, that's why it's kind of probably not as powerful as some of the other top end decks.
mm, 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 mm.
And why we don't really see a lot of like kind of like red. You know what I mean? Like I guess
Yeah.
the if you want to play red, like the color, I would definitely go with like the Pingers deck, the blue red
Mm.
deck. I think that's kind of like the strongest iteration using kind of the strongest red cards. Unfortunately, I think the ZAFT stuff and even some of the C stuff is just a bit. It's a bit lost, or it's just a bit. It's too many conditions to do something.
Yeah, having
You know, in
X
card
amount of
games, you want
AP
to
to
be.
do something, to do
Yeah,
this, to do this, to do this. It's just too conditional, and
yeah,
if a piece, if you're missing a piece, you're kind of stuffed.
yeah. It's just not efficient enough, unfortunately. So,
Mm. Mm. Agreed.
you know,
Agreed.
I hope it gets some good stuff in the future. I really do. But yeah, I think that's why it's kind of landed there. And look, I don't think it's a super hot take to be honest with you, Cheston, because like of all the kind of results we've seen online, of all the like research I've done, you know, I just haven't seen a lot of people do having much results with it.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. I
yeah,
guess the numbers speak for themselves. You know, I know there's some local
yeah,
players who like this deck and who like the fandom, who like, the series, so they just gravitate towards it.
yeah, no,
But
that's fair.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, your turn.
I'm gonna go blockers.
Yes,
OG
sure.
blockers, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I think it sits here, right? Something like
Uh,
this,
okay.
right? My point
Yeah.
being is that it it's almost too defensive if I was to think about it, right? Like the list I think of in my head is the Justice Gundam, the Justice Gundam that makes units, the Freedom Gundam, Grandpa Gundam. You're playing blockers, and you're just trying to stall out the game till you see your top end. That's how I see its game plan, right? Unless, are you thinking of a different one?
Yeah, no, I'm thinking more of kind of the traditional deck, which is you know early game you're playing like Grandpa Gundams, Amuros, Rizels, Lithriths,
Yep, yep, yep,
Swarts,
yep, yep, yep,
and
yep.
then late game you're playing Strikes, Perfect Strikes,
Yeah.
and
So
your you know
you're
Cures.
you're playing your early game is like some offensive with some blockers, and you're trying to last till the late game where your blockers are so tall that they can't get through you.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. You win the game through controlling the board via having more efficient blocker units and having like Kira and stuff minusing AP and being efficient in that way. So yeah, you're not running an aggressive deck early, but you're just controlling the board to the extent where you can then take over the game.
Yeah.
Plus, you're running overflowing and a show of resolve, so you're not running
Mm.
out of cards.
Yeah, you have gas for days, and I think
Hmm.
it's higher than pingers because, like we talked about before, pingers can't really deal with that top end to remove them efficiently, other than swinging into
No.
them, which is
Yeah.
unless they see the banshee and they see like first strike, sure, but that's like a one-off attack, and you're really only using that for game because that thing closes out games like nobody's business. Being able to swing twice in a turn, this like Eustace Kid Green in early days of One Piece was a menace because like, oh, I just untap and swing again. I have just an extra attacker on board, and it deals with Zeon because while this deck tries to be mid range, it's a little bit more focused towards the lower ground, and it just can't stand up to the tallness of this deck. And even with Sinanju, you got high maneuver, sure. You can play out a unit, you can deal some damage, but I think by the time you see this, it's too late before to deal with this, in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, fair enough. I would say I'm happy to leave it there. I do think it probably sits, in my opinion, kind of next to the Unicorn build because they're both very similar, and I
Mm.
think they both sit in A.
Oh, okay.
Um, and maybe we'll do Unicorn now just for the
Okay.
sake of it because I do think they're both very similar decks. Like the Unicorn build, is blue white. and I think the build is very similar. Like usually you're running maybe one unicorn even in the freedom blockers build,
Yeah.
and vice versa. So I think these two are almost interchangeable to an
Yeah.
extent. I
Sure.
think the kind of consensus is that the more unicorn focused build is probably better.
Yeah.
Like a unicorn control build with the white blockers for backup is a little bit better.
Yeah.
Um,
Because you can get into destroy mode earlier than others. It's kind of like a pseudo
yep,
ramp sort of thing. Banana
yep,
helps you draw cards. It's one of the few
yep.
pilots that give you a 2/2, which makes it huge.
Hmm.
Um, and being able to the combo. Obviously, you play the level 5. You put Banaja. You swing with it. Um, destroy it. Play the destroy mode. Link it with Banaja. Then you swing again, resting something. It's just you're drawing 2 cards. You ideally taking out something on the board. You get to your level 7 faster than your opponent, and it just has a lot. That one little trick alone, I think, sets it apart from here. And they are slightly different play styles. I would say this is a little bit more aggressive. This is a bit more defensive. But yes, I say the cards are very very similar.
Yeah, I mean, the unicorn mode, I think a lot of the power comes from the ability to rest anything on the swing, giving
Mm.
you like omnipotent control.
Mm-hmm.
So you can really kind of like swing and rest anything down and really kind of choose how you're trading into things too. So I do think that build is a lot more control focused, a lot more as you kind of said, a lot more actively control focused,
Uh-huh.
whereas kind of like your traditional blockers build is a bit more defensively control focused.
This is I am
Um,
giving you questions to answer. This is sorry, I am giving you
It's
questions.
a bit of both, yeah. They're answering
Mm.
questions and giving you questions to answer, whereas the more traditional blocker build is like I'm just going to answer all your questions and hope you run out of gas kind of
Yeah,
vibes. Yeah,
you know,
definitely,
you can't get through my tall blockers basically.
pretty much.
And last but not
Um,
least,
yeah. Last but not least, as we've kind of highlighted through the whole thing, that Jess and I like this deck a lot. So maybe,
here right,
Jess, you
here
put it
right,
where you
here
think
right,
you should go.
here right.
Yeah, no, no. I I was gonna say I'm not so ballsy to put it there. I do
No, no,
think
no, no.
it's in A for sure. I think it's part of this rock paper scissors we have in A.
Yeah.
Um, whereas like it's very good into zero. Um, so what this deck is, sorry, so if people don't understand, it is the blue green aggro variant.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which is running most of the kind of the Zeon lower to the ground Zeon green
And
stuff
Earth
with Char,
Federation white base
and
stuff.
then with the Earth Federation white base stuff with amuroray, and kind of the newer kind of tech that we've seen people using is like siege ploy and stuff. So effectively, what you're doing is you're just spamming the board with little dudes. You have high maneuver with your Chars in your Zaku's,
Mm-hmm.
with that link, and then you're using Amro and Siege Point stuff to like rest down
Mm-hmm.
blockers and just absolutely hammering the opponent's face. So it's just pure aggro deck, and I think it's very powerful. I do think it's very, very, very powerful, and I think it's part of this rock paper scissors kind of format that we have with
For sure.
Zero, this aggro build, and then you kind of blockers.
For sure. For sure. For sure. Um, the only reason why I was being cheeky and putting it here is because if you see a god hand, it is
Yeah.
so tough to get around this thing. Like, the deck's versatility going first or second, as we all know at the moment,
Yes.
going second is the most advantageous. You can
Mm-hmm.
play two small things, or you can play someone slightly bigger thing. While
Mm-hmm.
this deck, most of the time I can play a level 2 with a 1 cost and another level 2 with a 1 cost. So ideally you're playing two of the Zaku 2s where they swing for 3 AP, you take out their EX base instantaneously. Or you can play a GM. There's just a lot of things you can play here. If you go first, you play your dot. You can look at the top card, leave it on the top of the bottom. So it helps with the. It's not really card draw, but it's like looking for answers that you need to find. Like I just need an armor, or I just need a char, or whatever it is. So
Yep.
it's got that versatility there. You got the Zaku one AP, 2 HP, level 1 cost. So it has turn 1 or first like a going first plays, which not a lot of deck have, and
Yeah.
it can just run away with games because you just go
Yep.
super wide. and it basically says, "Come deal with this." Oh, you kill my Charizard too? I'll just look at the top three, grab another card. Oh, you kill my
Yeah.
other Charizard too? I make a 3-1. Yeah, you can probably
Yeah.
ping it, but you're wasting your resources to ping it, and it's a 3-1 as well. It will take out a lot of things in this format.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
Oh yeah.
it can, as I'm sure every aggro player knows, if it runs out of gas, you're cooked. You're done,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You live and die by the aggro. If I can aggro you fast enough, you're done. If green white sees wing zero, I'm cooked, right? Nothing here is more than 3 HP. It's gonna die.
Yeah.
Nothing gets over these tall gets over unicorn. Nothing gets over these blockers here. Obviously, you got high maneuver, but it's a very niche sort of thing. Um, and these other decks, I think pingers can deal with it, like Henry was alluding to
Yes.
before.
Fingers
Um,
can. Yeah.
Dealing 1 damage, 2 damage when you swing, when you attack is very efficient. You can swing, deal some damage, take out units. HP is not very high here, but the thing is, if my board is so wide that you can't dish out enough damage, then you're done as well. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's why I think it just has this extra elevation here because yeah, is it he?
Yeah.
Is it of the top meta? I don't think so. I think
Yeah.
it's
It's it's really it's good. It's fun. It's a deck. If you don't have answers for it straight away, you are just going to lose the game.
mhm,
So it can be hard to play against if you don't know that. And in a game where, as you mentioned, everyone's prioritizing going second, if you build this deck to go first, you can take first or second, no matter what,
you
and
don't
you
care.
put yourself in a really good, exactly right. You put yourself in a really good position. Plus, I mentioned this a little bit before, but in kind of in Gundam, it's not like One Piece where you see your opponent's leader card, and you kind of know what you're playing against.
Mm,
You don't know what you're playing against, in maybe outside of a top cup, for example. So, um, you know, if these defensive decks aren't, respecting that early aggro, you can just run people over.
yeah,
Like you can win the game before they can play a wing zero. You know what I mean?
surprise, right?
Pretty confidently. Um, so yes, it's a very powerful deck. I think it's the best aggro deck in the format. I honestly believe that. So I'm glad people have kind of caught on to it. Because I like playing aggro, so I'm very keen to play it. Um, but yeah, we'll see how that kind of progresses in some of these upcoming bigger tournaments. But yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with where everything's kind of. I wouldn't say the A tier is being ordered in any way, so
No,
people don't kind of read into that. I think I would say those three archetypes and four decks are probably the stronger ones.
yeah, for sure.
Um,
I think
that's how
S
I would
is
say.
really reserved for something that is truly unbeatable. Something that
Yeah.
just like stands at its pinnacle. It has no
Yep.
peer, or you have to really draw into your luck, to your counter, or they draw poorly.
Yep.
And again,
Yep.
like we said before, if any of these decks draw poorly, you draw poorly. If
Mm.
if a deck takes the EX resource and you really need to go second for your deck to work, of course your deck's not going to work. I think this game is still developing. I really want to see how they deal with going second because it just gives you such a big advantage having a higher level faster than your opponent. The advantage of swinging first isn't always better. There have been plenty of games, I know Henry can attest to this, where the best play is to what? Not swing at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with this. There's no S tier deck at the moment for sure. There's no
No, yeah,
no.
there's no best deck in format, I don't think. Which is nice because we wouldn't want that in set one because there would something be horribly, horribly wrong if that was the case. Um, but I do think I'm happy where this is kind of washed out to.
Yeah,
In saying that, we might have missed a deck or two. So if
yeah,
anyone thinks that we have egregiously missed some deck that belongs, at least in A or B, please let us know because
yeah,
I hope we haven't, but you never know.
yeah. I'd love to see if like a mono deck can stand in this meta somehow.
Mm,
Maybe we do like a more rogue tier list and see delve into like specific factions or something like that.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Like Mono White Academy. I think some people were trying stuff like that,
mm,
like Academy Aggro or something. I think
mm,
I saw a deck like that recently.
mm. There's definitely a lot. There's still a lot of cooking that needs to be done, and I think there's still a lot of experimentation that needs to be done. But yeah, anyway, thank you so much everyone for watching. Like Henry said, like and subscribe. Watch our other videos. We talk about a lot of Gundam here, a lot of other hobbies. And if we missed anything, you got some feedback for us, please let us know. We love to test out your decks. Submit a deck list to us, comment it, however you please.
Yep.
And yeah, I think that sums it up, right?
Yeah, yeah. And we'll catch everyone in the next video.
Yeah, sweet. Have an excellent day wherever you may be. Cheers.
Peace.